outside if you can come in and take a seat, and we'll begin in a moment. Star is born. Great. Well, welcome everybody. We have a great evening tonight. My name's Scott Kilgallen, Director of Athletics. This is the 6th year we've done this format for the Hall of Fame, and you're going to hear some really, really great people speak tonight. For those of you with the basketball games today, congratulations to both teams. They are currently in first place in the conference, so hopefully that will continue. So Coach O and Coach Bunch, nice job. Also, if we could give a hand to former men's basketball player Gabe Michael for giving us his talents as he's done the past 6 years on the piano. Gabe, we really appreciate it. To soon-to-be Hall of Fame inductees, Andrew, Crystal, Greg, Craig, Jenna, and Neil, congratulations. We look forward to hearing you and to your families as well. Pioneer Award winner, my good friend Larry Fuhrer and his family, congrats. Look forward to hearing you as well. Family, friends, and alumni, we're glad to have you here. Again, great group of people to honor tonight who've achieved a lot now and after. And this event, for everybody who couldn't make it, is being streamed live for family, friends, and alumni watching at home. The significance and importance of this event is further reinforced with the VIPs in attendance. And Chancellor Beth Strobel, thank you for coming. We'll hear from the Chancellor shortly. I do want to say Chancellor Strobel has been awesome to work with. We're working on some projects, very supportive of athletics and our student athletes, so thank you. Also, Melissa O'Connor from the Development Office. Melissa, could you just wave your hand? Great, there she is. Great. Professor Ralph Ologies, a past winner of the SAC Award. Thank you, Ralph. Hall of Famers in attendance, and the list that I have, and I apologize if I missed somebody, Jerry Amsler, if you could stand if you're here, soccer. Kevin Fan, soccer as well. Kevin. Mike Hutchinson, also our assistant women's soccer coach, Hutch. Melanie Klinghoffer Bernat, Melanie. And longtime successful coach and a number of Hall of Fames, Marty Toad. Coach. I'd also just take a minute, the Hall of Fame committee, their names are on the back. Big job, and it's getting even bigger every year with the talent that's coming through the university. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for all of your work. I appreciate everything. Our sports information director, Ben Greenberg, for pulling together and verifying stats when we were going over the nominees. And softball player Breland Craig, who's helping us with the photos tonight. So thank you to you as well. And I'd be remiss, the athletic staff, they've been going all day, and they're just a really good, great group of people to work for. They work tirelessly on behalf of our student athletes and our university. I want to thank all of you as well, so thank you. Quick update on what our current student athletes are doing. They once again won the SLIAC All-Conference Award for the best athletics program in the conference. And I think the other thing we can be very proud of, we have over 300 student athletes collectively with over a 3-point GPA, so awesome job. And we invite Ben here. It's a little easier. We have a nice video. I want to thank Brendan Janesco. Brendan, raise your hand to see you back there. Awesome video he's put together. And I think you'll get a feel for the flavor of our current student athletes.
Interesting.
Y'all ready to go?
I'm the greatest, and the game don't stop till I get on top. Are you ready now? Oh yeah, I'm making moves. Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm making moves. Oh, I'm never gonna stop until I'm on top. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm making moves. I'm a lightning flash, yeah, I'm coming fast. Better brace yourself, feel my thunder crash. Can't tune me out, I'm coming direct. I'm born for this, yeah, ready, get set. Motivated, get to working. John Wayne on a different purpose. Concentrated, never swerving. I'ma teach class, y'all keep learning. And the fight ain't done till the last bell rung. Are you ready now? Oh yeah, I'm making moves. Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm making moves. Oh, I'm never gonna stop until I'm on top. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm making moves. I'm a mover, I'm a shaker, I'm a thunder, I'm an earthquaker. I'm a mover, I'm a shaker, I'm a thunder, I'm an earthquaker. I'm making moves. Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm making moves. Yeah. I'm never gonna stop until I'm on top. I'm gonna do what I
That makes me want to go out and run, but I got a hamstring cramp. I also want to, Nate, can you raise your hand back there? Nate's been doing an awesome job organizing a class, streaming our games. Really appreciate his technical expertise. And I know I have limitations technologically, so I also have Janelle Bond working for me as well. Thanks, man. Okay. Janelle, thank you. Nate, thank you as well. Okay, it's time for the Athletics Pioneer Award. This year's award winner was an easy choice given his many accomplishments and contributions to Webster University and our athletics department. It's my great pleasure once again to introduce Chancellor Beth Strobel to present the Webster University Gorlock's Pioneer Award, along with Miss Melissa O'Connor from the Office of Advancement.
Well, good evening, and thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott, to all your team members, and thank you all to those who are in this room because we support Webster Gorlocks as students and as athletes. It is a wonderful place to be tonight. This is the crowning moment of what we have called Spirit Weekend. And Spirit Weekend was separated out several years ago from Homecoming and Alumni Weekend that happens in the fall, because we sensed that we needed its own separate weekend where we focus more on students and student life. And so we started out Friday evening with the induction into the Student Life Hall of Fame. And what stories we heard. And they were wonderful stories about our graduates going all the way back to 1965, talking about what it was like to be a student at Webster in the 1960s, all the way up to just recent memory. And so it makes you proud to be a Gorlock when you hear those stories about how this institution, because of its values and its focus on students first, has made such an impact across all those years. And then this morning, we had our annual competition for people for the Chancellor's Scholarship. And they came with their families and they competed, they did essays, they did interviews, and they'll soon hear whether they qualify for full tuition scholarships based on their academics. And then, of course, we had a great afternoon at the Grant. Talk about a spirit weekend. It was a wonderful place to be today. And now, of course, tonight, we talk about what it is that contributed to the beginning of Webster Athletics and what continues to feed it and to make it just get stronger year by year. So I'm really proud to always be the person who gets to recognize the pioneer among us. And so it is an honor to be here this evening to celebrate with the new Hall of Fame inductees and the Student Athlete Advisory Committee Appreciation Award. At Webster, we certainly do take great pride in school spirit, and our athletic teams give us a wonderful chance to show that, not only to our students, to our families and our fans, but to the broader public. And the Pioneer Award is about those who have laid the foundation and continue to support Gorlock Athletics to achieve all that we have today and to imagine and plan for what we believe we will have very soon and in the coming years. This Pioneer Award was created in 2015, and it is always an exciting opportunity to find stories from our history and share them with all of you. Stories that are captured in old photos and yearbooks in the archives, remembered by former students when they visit campus, and it's the collective stories of all the students, the faculty, and staff who have come through this institution in its over 100 years since its founding in 1915 that come together to form the history and the spirit of Webster. So I'm going to tell you tonight about this pioneer story. Tonight we honor Larry Furr. Almost everybody knows Larry Furr as the superfan, and if people don't, they recognized it today when he got a rousing round of applause when he was introduced at halftime of the men's game. He's known as the superfan by current student athletes and alumni for his support both on and off the field of play. He had a distinguished 34-year career in the private business sector. And then he came here to Webster University and is in his 28th year where he has served in various roles at Webster, particularly teaching as an adjunct professor in business management. That's how many students have come to know Larry. Students, of course, also loved Professor Furr's first-year seminar class called Seinfeld, based on the popular sitcom. And, you know, everybody says, well, it was the show about nothing, but I think Larry would tell us it was the show about almost everything. He's dedicated to Gorlock Athletics, his students, and to our fine university. He has attended well over 1,000 athletic events since the mid-90s. It's really an amazing track record, Larry. He supports his students in other endeavors as well, so it's not unusual to see Larry at dance recitals and theater productions. He began his education at Dartmouth College, where he was a member of the swim team, played basketball, volleyball, softball, and tennis, and was athletic director of his fraternity for 2 years. And oh, by the way, he also completed an MS in mechanical engineering in 1957. Larry keeps busy. During college, he met his wife of over 60 years, Pam. When Pam passed away from cancer in 2015, Larry funded and dedicated the Wall of Fame in 2016 in her memory. 3 years ago, he established the Pam and Larry Furr Endowment Fund for athletics at this university. It's clear that Larry is supportive of Gorlock Athletics and our student athletes by not only attending games, but recruiting others to attend games, faculty, staff, community members. As Scott noted, he appreciates the time that Larry takes to talk with a student athlete, not only after a good game, but when things haven't gone so well, and helping a student athlete know, keep your head up. Larry served on many committees, from the athletic director search that brought us Scott Kilgallen to the Hall of Fame committee, and he's the popular guest speaker at the women's soccer banquet, and even makes time to keep the stats for the Webster Groves High School lacrosse team. Now, it is no wonder that Larry also received the inaugural SAC Award in 2014. He was the 1999-2000 nominee for the Webster University William T. Kemper Award, a visiting professor at Dartmouth, a junior achievement volunteer for 23 years, and was active with the Theater Guild of Webster Groves with Pam for 30 years. Larry and Pam raised 4 children together, all of whom are in attendance tonight. And I know Larry as someone I've come to admire for how multifaceted he is, including the gift of his poetry. So if you have not asked Larry to favor you with the gift of his poetry, it is a true gift, and I encourage you to do that. Larry, I thank you for your friendship, your genuine support, your dedication to sharing the importance of academics and athletics, and for making a lasting impression on all of us in Webster University. Please come forward to accept.
Thank you all very much. And you'll all be ready to know that I don't have a long narrative poem to read. And thank you, Beth, and thank you, Scott. And I want to congratulate everybody in the Hall of Fame inductees tonight. Most of you here were before my time in your sport. I was going to basketball. I started with volleyball in the mid-90s, saw Molly Farrell play. She's now in the Hall of Fame. But it was Christy Kapkovic. I was going to basketball and volleyball, but it was Christy Kapkovic. I had her in my Seinfeld seminar, Jenna, her freshman year. So I saw Jenna play many, many times. And a lot of my memories I have, and when I was especially proud to be a Gorlock, and some of them were in losing causes. And one of them, Jenna will clearly remember, it was in 2009, and we went to the regionals and we played Washington U in the first round. We lost to Wash U 2-1 in overtime. Ironically, Wash U went on to the national championship and lost 2-1 in overtime. That's how close we came. And Neil DeVasto up here. Yeah, about half the people here are named DeVasto, I think. But Neil and I got along very well. Neil, you were a really good sport. You always were a good sport and put up a lot of nonsense for me, didn't you? But Neil is a very creative writer and a very good driver. He drove Luigi and me back from Illinois Wesleyan in a blinding rainstorm and got us here safely. I'm sure you're never going to forget that, Neil. So I think this award really, I don't think this award is really about me. I think this reward is really about what I stand for. And what I stand for is Gorlock students, Webster students, athletes, and not just athletes, but the whole Webster student body. And I think that's what we're all here for. Administration, staff, faculty, the groundskeepers, security, everybody. That's what we're here for. We're all here for the Webster students. And it's kind of interesting that after 34 years in industry, pressure-packed job, lots of long hours, and then I come here to Webster, and for the last 28 years, all I've been doing is having fun. Just been having fun. Going to games, enjoying myself, teaching, which I love to do, and now I get an award for it. So I want to thank my family and friends, all of whom are here, and my late wife Pam. I wish she was here, but she put up with me for over 60 years and helped me raise this wonderful family. My oldest daughter PJ is here; she's out there somewhere, Yeah, there she is, waving her hand around. And PJ is an art therapist and very adept at what she does. She can get even projects out of blind kids. My second oldest daughter, Lori, is sitting down here. And Lori is an actress and a teacher, but Lori also has been a Gorlock. Lori has come to many athletic events, and many people in the athletic department know her. And she's come to the women's soccer banquet a couple of times. My son Paul is sitting down here. My son Paul, that's my vagabond son Paul, because he's got himself a camper now, and he drives all around the national parks and state parks with his dog Lacey. And I think maybe he can be like Steinbeck and write a book someday. Steinbeck travels with Charlie. Well, you can make travels with Lacey, but maybe come up with a different title. Steinbeck's got that. And my daughter Robin out there. Robin is a guitarist and a musician in general, and she teaches guitar, and she was a counselor before that. And then my sons-in-law are here. Both my sons-in-law are here. Glenn Lopate, he's Robin's husband, and he's a neurologist. And Glenn thinks there's something wrong with me. He does. He thinks something wrong with me because I'm addicted. I'm addicted to Webster sports. Well, it's what's addiction, that's all. But I got my other son-in-law, Patrick. He's director of counseling here at Webster. Now, Patrick thinks there's something wrong with me, too. Or for different reasons. Now, they both seem pretty well qualified. I'm a neurologist, director of counseling, so I don't know which one is right. Probably there's something wrong with me. But at any rate, I also have here a big shout-out. We need a big shout-out for Rob Hudson and his wife, Dory. His lovely wife, Dory. Rob and I have been going to games since the early 2000s, I think, Robbie, and Dory's been coming to a lot of them too. Well, Rob and I we've driven many times to Blackburn, many times to Greensville, many times to Westminster, a couple of times to McMurray, that's a little farther. And by the way, Rob, I'll be able to go Saturday up to Blackburn. So I tell you that now. And then I've got my friend Nancy here, Nancy Haparimwe. And Nancy is one of the lovely ladies that sits with me sometimes at the games. The pretty ladies. There's Nancy and there's Rachel Jones and there's Claudia. They sit with me at the games and they improve my image. I have them sitting with me today mostly. My friend Rita Hunt here. Rita has been a friend for a long, long time, and Rita was very supportive to me in the months after Pam died. Rita has been a family friend for a long time. Our friend Georgia Bartlett's back there, and I did junior achievement for many years with her. 23 years I did junior achievement. Probably about 9 or 10 of those were with Georgia. My neighbors, Jeff and Diana Morris, both of them are registered nurses. They live next door to me, so I feel pretty safe a lot of the time. So I'm an octogenarian. So I'm an octogenarian now, and I love teaching. And my plan is to keep on teaching until I drop. Because I love it here, and I love it Webster, and I love the people at Webster, and I love the athletic department in particular. They've been really nice to me, and the women's soccer team in particular adopted me in 4 years ago at a very critical time in my life when I kind of needed to be adopted. So I will keep doing that and keep teaching until I drop, and I think I'll be going to these athletic events till Rob, you'll be wheeling me in a wheelchair. Rob, wheeling me into a wheelchair. I'll go to the events, and I'll be there even in a wheelchair. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's Seinfeld. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chancellor Strobel. How can you not love Larry, right? Okay, now going to our current students, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee Appreciation Award. Traditionally, they like to surprise somebody with this. That's why it's not in the program. I love this award, but also I don't because I feel like I'm an underachiever when I introduce our two students, okay? So I'd like to invite the current Student Athlete Advisory Committee President, Samantha Cruzy, who will graduate in 3 years and is already accepted into medical school, and past President, Matt Mulhern, who also graduated in 3 years and is doing his MBA at Webster while he competes in baseball. Sam and Matt.
Good evening, everyone. Just congratulations to Larry and all of our inductees tonight. So SAC, or Student Athlete Advisory Committee, in 2014 created an award. Larry, as Chancellor Strobel mentioned, was our first award recipient. We created an award just to show our appreciation and our gratitude towards someone who's always been an advocate for Webster Athletics and a big supporter of ours. And so this year, Sam is going to give you a little background on our award winner.
Okay, so the person who is receiving this award this year, they are amazing in this department, and I feel like our department and student athletes really rely on this person. They're there advocating for the student athletes, the students, and everyone in our department. The nicest person you will ever meet, and is actually an advisor for our lovely club, and meet with her on a daily basis, and she helps us out so much, and we wouldn't be here without her. So, Matt, would you like to introduce?
Yeah, so without further ado, Amy O'Brien is this year's SAC Appreciation Award winner. So Amy, please come.
Congratulations, Amy. A little. Being in person, and she thought I was mad at her when I called for the trophy. Fran Ann folks said, "Oh, Amy thought you were so upset because we had a Phantom Award winner," and also she's got bronchitis, so she gets away with not speaking tonight. But Amy, thank you for everything. Okay, now we're on to the Hall of Fame event, and as I said earlier, this is the best of the best. We deliberated a lot on the 6 future Hall of Famers up here this evening. Great student athletes when they were here, and you'll find out they're doing wonderful things after graduating from Webster University. I do want to introduce my colleague, Mary Graff, and Mary is our Assistant Athletic Director, Senior Women's Administrator, and our volleyball coach, and I rely on Mary a lot for advice when you're making decisions. You're always trying to make them with the best interests of student athletes, and it's nice to be able to talk with Mary and get her opinion on things, because sometimes I may be in a different direction. So it's my great honor to introduce Mary Graff.
One thing I always like to point out is you'll hear a little difference when Scott and I speak. I'm not referring to the accent, I'm referring to SLIAC. When I started at this university, and many of you as well, it was SLIAC was how you said St. Louis Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. A few years back, they decided at the conference office to make a change and call it the SLIAC, so that's why the difference. I haven't converted yet, so bear with me if you hear the difference there. So the first inductee is Andrew Rudroff. So if I would ask former Hall of Famer and coach, or former coach and Hall of Famer Marty Toten, come on up and join us at the stage here. So Andrew was a 4-year soccer player from 2006 to 2009. He's a 4-time SLIAC first team all-conference, 2-time SLIAC all-tournament team. He was the Webster President's Award recipient, 3-time team captain, competed in the NCAA tournament in 2009. He leads Webster in the career top 10 in points, goals, assists, and game-winning goals. Coach Toth states, Andrew Rudroff, or Rudy, was a coach's dream. He's a very talented player, great teammate, and good friend. His work ethics are inspiring. He led by example, instilling good habits and discipline. When faced with adversity, he didn't complain or become negative. Instead, he challenged the team to work harder and push them to do better. His ability to put aside personal goals for the good of the team is a quality that makes for an outstanding teammate and leader. True friendship is someone who encourages you to be all you can be and challenges you to become the best version of yourself. They inspire, energize, and encourage us by simply living their lives to the fullest. Rudy was a prime example of an athlete that you want representing Webster and is very deserving of this honor. I am proud to call him my friend." Unquote. Andrew earned a BA in Human Resource Management in 2009, an MA in Education in 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Andrew Rudroff.
Thank you very much. First off, I just want to congratulate all the other inductees tonight, the award recipients as well. It's really an honor to share this moment with you all, so congratulations, guys. Secondly, I want to thank Webster University, Chancellor Strobel, Scott, Amy, Mary, the athletic department, everybody who put on this event tonight. I know that's not easy. It's just a wonderful event, and thank you very much for that as well. I'd like to thank Mike Senior and Josh Selmeyer and what they're doing currently with the program. It's really great to see, and I can't wait to see how far they take it and where they go from here. And that really goes to Luigi and the women's program and all the athletic teams here at Webster as well. Looking from afar, there's really a lot to be proud of. So I always love checking in and seeing how the teams are doing, and you know, it's one of the favorite things that I do these days. I'd like to thank my family, my dad, my mom, my sister Kelly, my brother-in-law Jeff, my brother Matt and his family who are watching from Charlotte, North Carolina today, his wife Karen, and nieces and nephews, Emma, Allie, and Aiden as well. My dad was definitely my role model growing up. He won an NCAA title at St. Louis University, went pro, played on the national team, played against some of the best players in the world, Beckenbauer, Pele, I mean, you name it. So probably an easy choice for a role model, right? But no, one of the things that I really admire about my dad was really his humility. By talking to him, you would never know those things about him. He personified, I think, the expression, you know, great players don't have to talk about themselves because they have plenty of people to talk for them. And I can't tell you how many people have come up to me talking about how great my dad was. So I really respect and admire that. I'd like to thank my mom. She was always the rock of our family. My mom brought the passion and intensity to our family. I kind of chuckle looking back. I got quite a few yellow cards, a couple of red cards too. And I probably got that from my mom. So I thank her as well. I'd like to thank my brother and sister who have been putting up with me for almost 32 years now. You guys have put up through everything. You know, I was the baby of the family. I was a little bit spoiled. That'll probably be the first and last time you hear me admit to that. But I was. So thank you for putting up with me all the time. I'd like to thank Kevin Fan, the fellow Hall of Famer. Kevin was actually the reason I went to Webster. You know, talk about a great example, a great mentor, you know, great friend and teammates. I can't thank Kevin enough. I think we made a good decision as well, buddy. So thank you, Kevin. I'd like to thank all of my other teammates as well. I hesitate to try and mention you by name because I don't want to forget anybody. I was also threatened by a teammate that if I don't mention their name, that they would yell during my speech, so I kind of want to see if they do that. Jimmy, the floor is yours. I'm just kidding, love you, brother. But Jimmy, the Riddy brothers, the Rama brothers, Dom, Yulo, Clint, Josh, I'm trying to at least hit everybody in attendance here, because then if I miss somebody who's not here, they probably won't be offended. But really all my teammates. In all seriousness, I hope you all know that I would have done anything for you guys, on and off the field. You know, I think back of those memories, and they were some of the best memories of my life, without a doubt. So, just want to thank you guys. Looking back on that stuff, you know, the goals and assists, those were great memories, fun times, but, you know, the thing I really missed the most was being in the trenches with you guys, battling for everything, fighting for loose balls, knowing that, you know, you had my back and I had yours. I mean, that's something that is very hard to replicate, and I really miss those times and that brotherhood, and I just thank you for all those experiences and for always having my back out there. I think some of our best teams were teams that, kind of alluding to that message, teams that took pride in fighting for each other and playing for each other, and luckily our coaching staff fully understood that. So I want to thank all our coaches, Marty, Corey, Alex, just for everything that you guys contributed to our teams, to me personally. You guys were fantastic, so a big thank you to all of you. Speaking of Marty Tote, I figured with the time constraints of the speech, I would only get to tell one story. So, Marty, you are the lucky winner of that story. So I think it was after my sophomore year. After the season ends, you start the recruitment process, and recruiting is everyone. It's the coaches, it's the players. It's a team effort. So we started the recruiting process, and one of somebody who was on our team who was graduating, Tom Riddy, his little brother was looking into Webster, and so we had a kick around at Merrimack, played with him. Went great. And then we hung out that night at a house party, and we're all adults here, no need to be naive. We had a really good time, and I'm thinking to myself, man, that guy's great. He would fit in so well within our team and our program. So, it might have been 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning, and I get this brilliant idea. I got to call Marty. This can't wait till the morning, right? We got to recruit this guy. Why not call him now? So there you go. Thank you. So I called Marty up, and I can just picture it now, him and his wife Joan are probably just peacefully sleeping, having those pleasant dreams, and he probably got a landline phone on the nightstand right next to his head, I'm sure of it. And I call him, and his wife Joan answers the phone and say, "Hey Joan, can I talk to Marty?" And I don't think she even responds. I think she just gives him the phone. And I hear Marty, and he says, "Rudy, everything all right?" "Yeah, Marty, it's fine. Why would something be wrong, Think anything was wrong, calling at 1 in the morning to talk about recruitment. And then I just said, Marty, we got to get this guy. He's great. He fit in so well with the team. We got to get him. And Marty, you got to love it. He just, "Yeah, Roots, we're going to get him. Don't worry about it. We'll get this guy." And that was Marty to a T, He would always answer the phone, He would always have your back. He always had that trust level, probably a little bit too much trust, because it actually wasn't the first and only time I called him late at night. Joan isn't here tonight, but I would like to officially apologize. Might as well continue this therapy session, whatever I have going up here right now. But no, in all seriousness, Marty, man, you were the ultimate players coach. I came to Webster at a time when, you know, the passion for the game was fluttering a little bit, to be honest, in my life, which is so sad to say right now. But talk about a perfect coach to have for someone like that. Marty just exudes passion and fun, and man, you got the best out of me, and I can't thank you enough for that. I really can't. So thank you, Marty. Thank you. And finally, want to save the best for last. Want to thank my wife, Becky. Becky was a heck of a soccer player herself, four-time All-American at Quincy. But she's an even better wife and mother to our two daughters, Rose and Grace. I thank God every day that those three are my life, and you know, I love you guys more than you'll ever know. So thank you very much.
Congratulations, Andrew. I'd like to ask our current softball coach, Katie Griffith, if she could join us up here. Thanks, Katie. Okay, our next inductee, Crystal Wilson-Worth, softball 2001 to 2002. She's a two-time SLIAC first team all-conference. She's the Webster University career leader for wins, games started, complete games, and shutouts. She's the single season leader for wins, starts, complete games, innings pitched, and game appearances. She led the team to an undefeated season in the league in 2002. Quote, Crystal's softball coach Craig Walston stated in his nomination, having coached for 20 plus years of college softball, Crystal Wilson is by far the most coachable player I've encountered, and she took all of her experience into teaching and coaching and giving back, end quote. Crystal earned a BA in secondary education with a minor in history and political science in 2002. She earned her MA in integrative studies with emphasis in social history in 2013. Crystal served as the Lincoln College softball coach for many years and as an assistant professor and freshman seminar coordinator at Lincoln College. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Crystal Wilson-Worth.
Good evening. Playing softball seems like so long ago, and my family and I were walking on campus, and it just floods back with memories. I can't even imagine. There's so many new things, but walking through the doors out here and seeing all the flags and seeing friendly faces, it's been truly a great day back on campus here at Webster University. My mom used to tell me that sports would never get me anywhere in life. And that softball was just a game. She definitely was not an athletic mind, and she did not understand the game in the same way that I did. My dad encouraged me to get involved in as many extracurricular activities and to enjoy every moment of my athletic years because it would fly by, and it definitely did. I have even heard myself repeat the words that athletics are just a game to my students, even though I truly don't believe that. Encouraging them to continue on with their education in pursuit of a successful career. Even though for me softball has never been just a game, it has truly been a way of life. I have been on the softball field every year since I was 3 years old and continue to be involved with the game, not as a player, not as a coach, but with a new role as softball mom. And believe me, it is so far one of the most difficult challenges of the game that I have faced. Knowing when to support, when to encourage, love, and nurture a young pitcher that has more talent than I can ever dream to have. And knowing when to shut my mouth and look the other way and kind of step back. It's tough. And yes, I'm extremely jealous of my 10-year-old daughter, who is a lefty, and it's just not fair. I never got that outside corner, and she gets it every single time, and she's 10 years old. Making the decision to transfer from Lincoln College to Webster University happened very quickly. I visited campus 1 week before the fall semester started in 2000 and fell in love with the campus, in the area and learned that the softball team was nationally ranked and had only graduated their starting senior pitcher. That pitcher was Webster University's Hall of Fame inductee Jamie Zest, class of 2012. The entire team was returning, and that was sure a win-win situation for me. All of the stats, all of the wins are because of my offensively and defensively sound teammates that needed me just as much as I needed them. I have never played with a group of girls that were so competitive and just flat out knew how to win and had fun in the process. This was back in the day before Blackburn Park had a fence. My girls could just crush the ball. Teams did not like to play us. We were confident, but we were not cocky. And we would do whatever it took to defeat a team. Our coach, Craig Walston, and Coach MB knew the game and how to outsmart our opponents. Their knowledge, their direction, and their trick plays, their go-go-go play, and bunt defense, moving the right fielder onto the dirt, helped us win many close games along the way. Okay, so I have David Letterman's top 10 for you. So I have Crystal Wilson's top 10 moments at Webster University. Number 10, working at Mike Dovey's Pub and Grill in Kirkwood, Missouri throughout my entire 2 years that I was here. Playing bingo with my teammates and senior citizens at a local church just down the road from campus. We loved to go and play bingo with the senior citizens, and they got really irritated with us when we would beat them, and we would get a bingo and we would get prizes. Also in the same realm, all the community service work that we did and the community involvement that we were a part of. Number 8, my favorite opponents were Millikan University and Wash U. Neither team really cared for us, but the feeling was mutual. It was really fun to face them and to beat them, and later, after graduating from Webster, became friends with many of the girls from Millikan University. Number 7, intentionally walking Missy Taylor from Maryville University every single at-bat that she had against me in 2 seasons. Not because I was scared of her, but because she was a really powerful hitter, and our master plan was to not let her see a pitch where she could single-handedly beat us. Pretty sure she hated me and my team, but we won every matchup, and the games were always really close. Number 6, student teaching at Webster Groves High School. I loved working in St. Louis schools during my undergraduate training to become a high school social studies teacher. My classes at Webster, the individual attention that I was given during my time as a student teacher, and the professional relationships that I have developed from being in the classroom has positively influenced the teacher that I have become at the college level today. Number 5, okay, are you ready for this? My one at-bat during my college career out of 4 years of softball. Pitchers back then did not typically hit, and I was grateful that I always had a designated hitter. My role on the team was truly to just pitch, and that was it. I wasn't even supposed to step out of my pitching circle and play defense. My second baseman would come in front of me and field the ball. I literally just threw the ball underhand. That was it. Okay, now I forgot where I was at. Hold on just a second. Okay, got that. Sorry. I was a decent bunter, and on spring break, we were tied going into a later inning of a game, and we had a runner on third base. The DH was lifted, and I went into the game to suicide squeeze a run in. I was so excited because I knew that I could get a bunt down, practiced it many years, but never had to use it. I did just that, and then I took off running towards first base and ran into the ball, which resulted in an out, and the inning was over. I never was allowed to step back in a batter's box. Number 4, being nicknamed Six Shooter by my second baseman. That nickname still sticks today, and I didn't know what a 6 shooter was. My number was 6. I didn't know that until my husband recently, within the past couple of years, told me what a 6 shooter actually is, so it's pretty cool. Number 3, the region tournament my senior year versus Illinois Wesleyan, played on their campus. We were getting beat, and I was exhausted. You have to understand, back then, I pitched every inning, 14 innings a day. There was no option of coming off of the field. It's just what I did. Started the countdown when I got to about 10 innings, 11 innings, then I could start counting outs, and I wanted to do that. Believe me, I wanted to. That was not forced by any means. But I had already played 4 games in about a 36-hour time frame, and I had pitched every single inning of those games. I physically had absolutely nothing left, and there was not an option of coming out of the game. My coaches and my 2 captains, Amy Fitzgerald, my catcher, and Megan Gates, used reverse psychology and made me believe that they were taking me out of the game. I threw a temper tantrum, which I tended to do because I like to get my way. And I'm sure I had a few choice words for all of them at that moment. And that in the bottom of the next 3 innings, we struck out the side and came back to beat Illinois Wesleyan and push on to the next round of the NCAA tournament. That's probably one of my number 1 memories from playing softball here. Number 2, the battery, otherwise known as the pitcher and catcher. The team was my best friend and roommate, Amy Fitzgerald. We had a love-hate relationship for sure, but she truly understood me as a pitcher and got me to perform to my absolute best of my ability every time that we were on the field together. Even though I did give her more than 1 concussion during my time here, she was the best catcher that I could have ever asked, and we were always a force that many did not want to reckon with. Number 1, my teammates, my girls. We were always together. The laughter on and off the field and every minute was special to me. For my 21st birthday, we could not go out to celebrate because we had a game that night and a game the next day. So they surprised me with 7 birthday cakes. Anyone who knows me at all understands that I absolutely love cake, so in my freezer, all the cakes went, and we ate all the cakes. I enjoyed watching the softball during the Olympics with my teammates, water fights in the apartments, or going to Cardinal games, even though I am a lifelong Cubs fan who just happens to be living in St. Louis for these 2 years. We always had a blast. I could be here for hours sharing stories of all the great times that we had. Words cannot say how much that I truly love and miss these girls on a daily basis. I am thankful that they are my friends and my teammates. I can honestly say that every time I stepped off the field that I was emotionally, physically, and mentally drained. We worked so hard to win each inning that we played that I can say that I gave 110% every time I was on the field my junior and senior year. That's what matters in life, effort. I often tell my 3 children, my student athletes, the effort is so important to succeed in life. If you give everything that you have to a task, and the end result is what matters. It's not that you won a game. It's not that you got an A or a B on a test that you studied for all night long. The life lessons that we can learn is that effort is more important than any result. Just try. That's what matters. I never wanted to let my teammates down. I pitched for them every single day. I wanted our team to play well, and we did that because of the hard work and dedication by all of us. We were able to walk off the field winners most days. That is a feeling that never goes away. The hunger to succeed and the determination to finish what you start is something that cannot be taught. It's only something that can be experienced. Thank you for this amazing opportunity, Webster University Athletics. I greatly appreciate it. I am humbled, honored, and blessed to be a member of this class of 2020. This moment is a once-in-a-lifetime moment, and I will recognize it for the rest of my life. All the credit, though, for this recognition, I share with my girls, I share with my teammates, and I share with my coaches. I think that's it.
Thank you, Crystal. I can say I enjoyed watching you play. Our next inductee is Greg Murphy, so if I can ask Coach Andrew Belsky to step forward. Murph was on the golf team from 2003 to 2006. He was SLIAC Newcomer of the Year, 2-time SLIAC First Team All-Conference, SLIAC Second Team All-Conference, 4-year member of the SLIAC All-Academic Team, 6 top 5 tournament finishes, top 20 finish in 15 career tournaments, career low round of 71, He was a member of Webster's SLIAC championship teams in 2003 and 2005. Former teammate and Coach Belsky states, "I had the pleasure of calling Greg both a teammate and a player. Now I have the immense pleasure of simply calling him my friend. As a teammate, you could tell how badly he wanted to be good, to be part of the team, to be successful, not only on the golf course, but in life. He was the epitome of a leader. That drive and desire led him to have an outstanding career as a Webster golfer, a student, and now to be a successful lawyer and husband. Greg really is one of the good ones. We're lucky to have had him as a Gorlock, and the honor of being in our Hall of Fame is well deserved." End quote. Greg earned his BS in accounting in 2006, JD from St. Louis University in 2009. He was a member of the Webster Alumni Board from 2013 to 15. Greg is a partner at Carmody McDonald Law Firm. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Greg Murphy.
Thank you. Andrew, those were some pretty sweet words. Appreciate that very much. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the Webster Athletics Department for putting together the Hall of Fame. Wasn't here when I was a student, and I think it's a really nice touch for the alumni to get back here and recognize our great athletes. Thank you to the nominating committee. I'm truly honored to be a part of this Hall of Fame. When Scott Kilgallen called me to inform me of the decision, I was floored. I'm honored and grateful that many of my friends, teammates, coaches, and family could be here for this event. I think more so than the other inductees tonight, I am being recognized for shepherding a program from irrelevance to the dominant team in the SLIAC conference. The men's golf program started in 1994, and if you look on the team's website right now, the first 4 years of stats say missing. And the 5th year in 1999 says incomplete. So that was the foundation of the program before I arrived. After holding the last putt in the final round of my high school golf career at the 2001 Illinois State Finals, a gentleman donning a blue and gold pullover walked up to me. The pullover had a logo of what appeared to be Winnie the Pooh on it. He asked to speak with me, and he said that his name was Tom Hart, and he was interested in me playing at Webster. He said that the program was in its infancy, but if I came to Webster, I would play on the varsity squad immediately, and we would eventually bring home a conference championship. I had my doubts, but I liked his confidence, so eventually I chose to become a Gorlock. My freshman year, we dominated the conference tournament, broke the school scoring record, and every player was all conference day. We won it again my junior year. We had a fair amount of success while I was a Gorlock. And under the helm of Coach Belsky, the team's success has only continued. The team has won 7 more conference titles. They are nationally ranked. They are now unquestionably the jewel of the SLIAC Conference. Well done, Coach Belsky. One of the great things about collegiate athletics is that you spend a lot of time with your teammates, coaches, and the people they love. At the end of your playing career, the things that mean the most are the friendships that you have. I'm happy to say that I retained great friendships from my time as a Gorlock. I've only got 5 minutes to thank everyone, so inevitably I can't get them all. However, I would like to thank a few key people. First, Andrew Belsky. He was my teammate my freshman year, my coach for my final 3 years, still the head coach for 13 more years, and my friend for life. He was a groomsman at my wedding. He's a fighter and always there for his friends and players. To Dax Garrison, my roommate, my banker, and my friend. If you've ever met Dax, you'll know that he doesn't lack confidence. There was never a golf shot he couldn't hit or a putt that he couldn't make. He makes you feel like you can do anything. In fact, he's so confident that when the Washington Redskins fired their GM a few weeks ago, he asked me with a straight face if he should apply. Dax is a trusted advisor and thoughtful friend. To coaches Tom Hart and Tom Heyer and my high school coach Greg Longstreet and all my coaches through the years. One of the difficult things about college golf in the Midwest is that much of your season is in early spring. So you could have 65 and sunny one day and 37 and sleet on the next day. The coaches are out in the elements too, and they do so much in the background to advance your game. To Walt and Teresa Belsky, they are unofficially mom and dad of Webster Golf. I say that because they came to almost every match I played in, but also because Andrew never refers to them as my mom and dad. Rather, he refers to them as mom and dad, as if they are everyone's parents. Thank you for making it tonight. To my wife, Rebecca, Thank you for supporting my golfing career and putting up with all the long hours on the course. If it wasn't for Webster Golf, we would have never met. I'd like to give special thanks to my family. I'm not standing up here today because of my own merit, because of something I've done by myself. It takes many people to make a Hall of Famer, and my parents, my two brothers Steve and Glenn, and my sister Shannon are standing up here with me, even if not physically. My mom's ancestors came to the United States from Italy on a boat searching for the American dream. They came here through Ellis Island with lots of hope and little money. My dad's father was a company commander in World War II, much like Tom Hanks in the movie Saving Private Ryan. He was hit by a shell fragment in Germany in March 1945. This required his left arm to be amputated through the course of several surgeries. As you can imagine, my parents didn't tolerate much whining, and they expected us to work hard because their parents expected it out of them. We were taught to be appreciative of God's blessings and to strive to be the best we could in whatever field we chose. To my mom, thank you for chauffeuring me to so many practices, laundering my clothes, sweaty clothes, always having food on the table, and always loving me. As I see my dad as an adult, he can seem fatalistic and pessimistic. However, I never noticed that growing up. He was always very encouraging to me, even when the odds were against me, particularly in my basketball career. He always put his family first. I really benefited from being the baby of the family, and that I learned a lot from the experiences of my siblings. My brother Steve taught me how to overcome losing attitudes from teammates. He taught me to expect to win by preparing for it. My brother Glenn was so supportive of me. He would leave work early on Fridays in Kansas City to fly to Heron to watch my basketball games or golf matches. Or he would just call to talk to me about my golf matches. And he also bought me Pro V1 golf balls when they were in short supply. Thanks for always being there, Glenn. My sister Shannon taught me to be organized and disciplined. She has every minute of her life planned out, especially the 5 a.m. softball workouts. And finally, I'm not one to talk about myself, but I would be remiss if I didn't say what I hope my lasting impression is on the Webster Golf Program. I don't believe I've ever been the most talented player on any team I've played on, but I've always brought out an infectious desire to bring out the best in the others around me. I think back to my freshman year of high school basketball. Our first games were part of a competitive tournament, and we practiced for several weeks leading up to that. But right before the tournament, the JV coach pulled 2 of the freshmen out of our team to go play for him and not in the tournament. So I was the starting point guard on a team with unfamiliar faces that had never played together. We won that tournament. In my senior season of high school golf, we only lost 1 match. We won the conference title and qualified for state. No other golf team in the history of my high school has done either of those. In my senior season of high school basketball, we became the first team in 43 years to advance to the state finals. I was only the 6th man on that team, probably only averaged 2 or 3 points a game. But the athletics department thought that I was so important to the athletic program that year that they voted me the most outstanding athlete. My sister sent me a note last night that summarized what I think I bring to the program. She said, "Your love of the game has always shone brightly in both golf and basketball, and that light brightens the attitudes and elevates the performance of your teammates and makes your family tremendously proud." So to close, I hope that my love of the game has always shone brightly at Webster, and that light brightens the attitudes and elevates the performance of future Webster athletes. Thank you so much.
Great, congratulations, Greg. If I could ask baseball coach Bill Kurich to approach. Our next inductee, Craig Schaefer, baseball 2008 to 2011. Craig was an all-region selection, SLIAC first-team all-conference. He was a 3-time SLIAC second-team all-conference, career record holder for RBIs, 2nd in career doubles and total bases, 3rd in career games started at bats, hits, and games played, 4 straight SLIAC regular season championships, 2 SLIAC tournament titles, and 3 NCAA tournament appearances. Coach Kurich states, "Craig was one of the best hitters to ever wear the Gorlock uniform. I can remember going down to watch him hit at the Bobby Simpson's Indoor Academy like it was yesterday. My assistant and I were late because we took the wrong route. That's not the first time, right, Bill? We almost turned around and went home because I thought we would miss his session. As soon as I saw him swing once, I knew Craig would be a special hitter. His work ethic in the weight room turned him into one of the most feared hitters in our lineup. Craig could change the game in one swing of the bat. He was a great Gorlock and even a better person, end quote. Craig earned a BS in biology from Webster in 2011, and he also earned an MA in healthcare at Webster University in administration in 2013, and he completed his doctorate in physical therapy from WashU in 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Craig Schaefer.
Thank you, everybody. First, let me thank Webster University and the athletic department for all their hard work putting this evening together and everything they do throughout the year. Your dedication to the athletes year in, year out doesn't go unnoticed. So my family actually has quite the history here at Webster University, starting with my sister, who was a 4-year soccer player from 2003 to 2006. So she was one of the biggest reasons I came to Webster University. She then went to WashU, so I followed her to WashU. So thank you for paving my career path. I appreciate that. I also met my wife, Kelly, here at Webster, who was a 4-year volleyball player. She wasn't around for my playing days, so she didn't get to see me in all my glory. But don't worry, I told her plenty about it. So I got to know her a little bit while I was coaching and she was still playing, and she grew to be one of my best friends. She still drives me to be a better person today. Gets on my nerves, eats my food off my plate, but we still put up with each other pretty well. So thank you. Tim, Peg, you did a great job raising her. I thank you guys for that too. So I do really owe more to Webster University than just my athletic career, so thank you. So I want to thank my mom, dad, my friends for coming out and supporting me tonight. My friends are all the ones sitting against the wall over there, hanging out. So thank you guys for coming. Mom and dad, obviously I couldn't do this without you. I mean, it's important to think about 20 years of practices, games, God knows how many bats and gloves. Sorry for putting your retirement back a couple of years, but thank you for the career, I appreciate it. So my earliest memories of baseball come from going to practices and watching my dad coach in junior high. I was pretty young, I don't remember a ton about it, but the stories that were told about him, the way he ran a team, really brought home the importance of hard work, hustle, dedication, and that's the way that he ran a team. What we used to do for fun when we were kids was we'd go to that junior high gym and we'd run baseball drills. We'd run a drill called balls to the wall where he'd throw a ball to one side, we'd have to run to the other. It was a baseball drill, but now I realize that he was just trying to wear us out to go to sleep at night as well. So it was too cool. But it was in that gym that I feel like I got my first taste of what it took, the grit and grind it took to be a baseball player and to succeed in daily life. One of the things I remember most about my baseball days is a series of questions that my dad would ask me from my first game to my last game that we played in Memphis, Tennessee in a regional championship. Did you have fun? Did you do your best? And what would you change if you could? Looking at those, it wasn't just about baseball. Those things are everyday life. What would you do different in that day to change it? So that kind of showed me that there are no real failures in life if you learn something from the experience and can move on and grow. To my siblings, I want to thank you guys for being phenomenal role models. Melissa, Brett, Heather, Kevin couldn't be here. He's taking care of baby Nora. But I learned so much from you guys, the examples you set for me. You guys have been prime examples of dependability, loyalty, and how to grow careers. So I follow you guys everywhere. Now I get to watch you guys grow, raising little Emerson and Nora, and I appreciate you guys for setting great examples of what marriage is and how to raise a family the right way. Now to my friends and teammates. So first I want to welcome Andy Featon. He was a 2016 Hall of Famer. I don't think he let anybody know he was coming, so he wasn't announced here in the beginning. So Andy, welcome and congratulations. So I lived with some of you. We made great memories. Quite literally, we grew up together. You know, that's when we learned to be adults. So we've been through so much in around 13 years of knowing each other. Had more hair back then, but that's just kind of how it goes. You guys represent, though, how strong the relationships are that come from a program like this. From Paul being in my wedding. And I'll tell a little story about Paul. I don't even know if Coach Kirch knows this one. It's a good one. So Paul is one of the most loyal and dedicated people I've ever met. So when we were in Arizona for our first trip, we weren't playing well. I don't think we won a single game that trip, did we? Yeah, 0-8, so good start to the season. After one of our bad losses, Coach Kirch asked us if anybody did the workout that he told us to do the day before. Nobody raised a hand. We ran a sprint for every single person on that team that did not do that exercise. The only thing I don't think you knew is that Paul Kinker was the only one that actually did that exercise, but he was too scared to tell anybody for fear that anybody else would get in trouble or he'd be disliked. So that's just the kind of guy Paul is. He's always going to go above and beyond. So preparing the speech gave me time to reflect on my college career, and I won't talk too much about myself. But let me tell you, it really didn't start out on a Hall of Fame path. This is a story that my friends really like to tell and remind me of constantly, so I'll go ahead and tell it, embarrass myself a little bit, and give it a laugh. In my very first game, it was against Merrimack University in the fall. It was my very first time being able to show off against another team, getting ready to throw down to second base. Really just trying to show off the arm, show how hard I can throw it, and maybe try to earn a spot. Well, the ball never made it to second base because I hit our starting pitcher directly in the back. There was a nice dull thud as it fell to the ground, and on the way to the mound as Coach Kirch came out, I was contemplating every way I could retire, move on. I'm sure I could go into art. I've got something to offer. So I get to the mound, and I was expecting to get yelled at, the kind of norm for doing something completely ridiculous. Instead, Coach Kirch looked at me, made sure James was okay, and he said, "Shafe, I want you to give James a hug." I could tell from the look on James's face that I should not, in fact, give him a hug. So I went back to the plate and continued on. Luckily, my career got a little bit better in the coming years, but Coach Kirch lightening that moment was definitely appreciated. It could have been much worse. So I tell that story, being a student athlete was not always easy. It came with challenges. Came with 4 a.m. wake-up call during Hell Week, long practices, Gorlock reminders when somebody would step out of line. For those of you that don't know what a Gorlock reminder is, it's meeting wherever Coach Kirch decides at about 5 a.m. and running until he decides that you're done. It was a good reminder of why we don't step out of line and why we do things the right way. So those reminders really kind of shaped who I was. It shaped my character. It taught me how to persevere, how to get over obstacles, kept me in line. So overcoming those obstacles really helped me out in my career starting as a physical therapist. So it deals with the interpersonal connections, talking to people, also dealing with athletes like I dealt with here at Webster University. Sorry, get my college. It's the W, that's what it is. So before I go, I do want to thank Coach Kirch and the coaching staff here at Webster University. You guys have a first-class program, and I'm honored to have been a small part of its development and its history. Thank you for letting me be a part of this team and holding myself and my teammates accountable, holding us to a higher standard as players as well as students. Thank you.
All right, our next inductee is Jenna Steiner-Sladek. So if I could ask Coach Ruby Ducheray to come on up. Jenna was a women's soccer player on the team from 2006 to 2009. She was 4-time SLIAC All-Conference selection, only player in league history to earn SLIAC MVP twice, 3-time SLIAC All-Tournament team, NSCAA All-Region honoree, Webster's all-time list for career starts, games played, shots, and assists, 3 NCAA tournament appearances, NSCAA and 2-time SLIAC All-Academic honoree, and a 3-year team captain. Coach Sheree states, "We all knew Jenna was going to be special from day one. She had an immense desire to compete. No game, no situation was too big. If you wanted to win as badly as Jenna did, you better show up mentally prepared, willing to work hard, and do whatever it took to win the game." Jenna not only stepped up to challenges, but took the challenges as opportunity to showcase her talents. End quote. Jenna earned a BA in Education in 2011, an MA degree in Education Administration in 2013, and a doctoral degree in Administration in 2017 at Lindenwood University. She's a principal at Truman Elementary School. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jenna Steiner-Sladek.
I'm Jenna, and I'm the wife to Nick and mom to Eli and Luke. I'm also a daughter, a sister, a teammate, a player, and a friend to many sitting here tonight. And I find that reflecting on who I am to all these supporters listening to me and cheering me on, it's the best starting point to probably the most important message that I want to share, and it's simple. Thank you. Thank you, Nick and boys, for always being my #1 fan, even on my bad days. Thank you to my mom and dad for the sacrifices, the time, and the heart that you've put into supporting me each and every day. Thank you to my sister, my best friend, for being silly and sad and all the emotions in between that come with being a human in life. Thank you to my teammates, Coach Weege and Coach Hutch, for the opportunity, the confidence, the passion, and the contagious desire to be the best at something. So thanks for having me tonight, Webster University. Webster soccer could have me talking for hours, but I've had some time to think it over, and I think I've gotten to the core of what I want to share. First, I feel that something we all need to remember is that during the time that we've had to spend here at Webster University, there's a lot more growing and learning going on beyond just the field. This university has allowed friendships, independence, an engaging education, a supportive environment, and opportunities to connect to the world. I got to travel and study abroad. I went 2 years towards a major and then I switched it. I found out who I am and who I want to be as a grown-up. And there were years that I actually got to grow up. And during that, no one really reminds you, nor you're probably not capable of stopping and realizing how much that these coaches and our personal cheerleaders sitting here tonight and during our games or at practices when we're running Fenton or tree loop sprints, those are the people that truly care about you. Sometimes we realize that a little too late, and that's an important piece to stop and remember. So I know that I've stated it, and I know I'm halfway through my speech, but I want to say it again. Thank you. Thanks for allowing me to set goals, to grow, to change paths. Thanks for cheering me on and for always encouraging and believing in me. Secondly, I've come to realize that all the stats or whatever I did to accomplish during the time here, it seems kind of like a blur to me. I don't think I even knew or realized anyone was tallying those details or giving me those awards. I just wanted to win. I love to win, and if you know how much I love to win, you probably also know how much I hate to lose. So thanks, Larry, for salting the wound and the reminder of the loss you lost. But it's a blur to me because I was here to compete, and it was the eagerness to win and to celebrate with my teammates. I like to be in the grind and become stronger alongside them. But the real aha moment for me was after that last whistle blew. Watching the program continue to be great and getting that invite back for all the alumni events. That's when it hits. The main event here at Webster University and for soccer is not the games. It's facing the adversity that comes with the different seasons and with the teammates that are there beside you. And most importantly, those adversities that happen on and off the field. Because you see, in the years to come, beyond that last whistle, you'll understand that these 4 years weren't all about the win, but they were more about the teammates that played alongside you. The reality of it is that time does march on, and these are the players that you want challenging you, supporting you, and more importantly, celebrating with you through all the seasons of life ahead. I think that's what sums up Webster soccer for me. It's the idea that it grew me as a team player and prepared me for the game of life. The simple idea that one coach who sought me out, he has a confidence in me to be somebody. He was patient with me while I grew and challenged me when I needed. He supported a team of females, and that's never an easy task. It's the idea that one time we're kicking the ball around for a win and we're sweating during what feels like the longest playing cold ever. We're walking to class and actually being responsible adults. But then the next minute we're in each other's weddings. We're welcoming babies, we're celebrating life and job accomplishments. We're connected on a deeper level because we're lucky enough to be able to work together on the field and grow alongside one another. It just makes my heart full to think about my teammates and the time I had at Webster. So I'm beyond grateful, and I'm proud and honored and humbled to be an inductee into the Webster Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Congratulations, Gemma. Wow, our next future inductee here, Neil DeBasto, finally somebody I actually worked with and gotten to know, and Neil is one of the nicest people you'd ever meet. He was the first AD in the history of Webster University from 1984 to 1988. He was a Webster administrator from 1996 to 2017. The athletics department was founded under his leadership. He transitioned Webster to an official NCAA Division III program. Neil was an integral player in creating our league, which is known as the SLIAC. There you go. Okay. He has proudly served Webster in several roles over 4 decades, including admissions counselor, director of admissions, and sports information director. He is also a past recipient of the Student Athlete Appreciation Award. Neil earned a BA in History and Political Science from Webster in 1979. He's currently retired and is definitely a Gorlock for life. I have one more announcement before Neil comes up and speaks on behalf of Webster University. In celebration of Neil's dedication to Webster students, an anonymous donor has made a generous contribution to Webster University to establish an endowed scholarship in Neil's name, which will support 2 part-time students each year. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Wow, that's something about the donor. I know who it is. I know he's watching, and I want to thank you. My wife said, please get up, don't just get up there and wing it. Well, unfortunately for you, I'm not going to. First of all, thanks to all my family and friends that are here tonight, the Bastos, Gregos, Bazookas. I know most of them came to see Larry get the Pioneer Award, but I'm glad you're here for me as well. I want to start with an apology to the department. It's been just over 2 years since I retired, and I've not made many games since I left, many events, and I really attribute this to a separation of anxiety. When I came back to a game, it was odd, it was different. When you're in a place for so long and part of a place for so long, and being there and not being part of it is just different. It's just different, and I think that's part of it. But I'm getting over it, and so I think I will plan on being here at more contests. So, as I mentioned in the program quote, I'm aware of all the hours that athletes have to put in their practice and their conditioning, pre-season workouts, their off-season workouts, the games themselves. So being in a group with 5 of those such athletes and ones who were exceptional at that was really an honor and humbling to be in that group with you 5, and I appreciate that. I have had the privilege to work games with Jenna, Craig, and Rudy, of course, who played with my son Dominic. Unfortunately, Greg, I never saw you play, but let's be honest. How many people really do see golf outside the parents? But I felt like I knew you because being office mate with Andrew, I heard overheard many conversations about you, many about Dax. Wherever Dax is tonight. So, and Crystal, I did see you play. I did go to softball games back then on occasion, and I saw Coach Walston try to wear your arm off. So she said she pitched every game. She pitched every game. In 1984, when we started the program, the Webster campus consisted of, literally, Loretto Hall, Webster Hall, Music Building, the theater, about half of the theater. Not what you see now, but about half the theater. And what is the art department? Except it wasn't when I was a student first. By '84, it was off. But when I started as a student in '77, it was actually the college school. So we didn't even hold classes there. So pretty much classes were held in Webster Hall and in the music building. And the theater people, of course, were in the theater. And we did run a high school at Lockwood and Plymouth called Plymouth Junior High School. And fortunately it did have a gym. But one of the reasons we decided to start the program was to fill a huge hole in our student activities. And as an admission person, which I was at the time, very selfishly, to get more students. Starting an NCAA 3 program with no scholarships and no facilities to speak of is really a hard thing, as we found out. I don't recommend any schools trying this in this age, but we were approved in February of that year, and although we did have a few recruits, really we were relying on students who were on campus to fill those teams. We started with men's and women's tennis, men's soccer, women's volleyball, and men's basketball. Having the gym in the junior high school the first year was a big help. We fixed it up really nice, I might add, but the Webster Grove School District decided to sell that building out. So we only had it for 1 year, and just like that we were out of the gym. Even the tennis courts we had, and I didn't mention that before, I'm sorry. In addition, so all the campus facilities I mentioned, there was a swimming pool out here in the green space between this building and the art department, and there was 4 tennis courts in the quad, which a number of you who have been here for a while probably still remember those tennis courts. But even the tennis courts didn't do us any good because there was only 4. You really should have 6 for a match. And they faced east and west, which meant nothing to me. But apparently to tennis players it does mean something, that they're supposed to face north and south. So, but we endured, we made it through the first year with quite an assortment of student athletes. It was kind of close in a couple of the sports, keeping rosters for the full year. We lost a men's basketball player at the Christmas break because he had to report for military duty to Switzerland. He was, apparently that was mandatory, but we picked a couple of the people up over the break to keep that going. We had a Dutch tennis player who had come from Leiden and was here for the year, who was absolutely fabulous. We had him play at number 1, and he would cause opponents literally to scream and yell. He was so good because he had tennis shoes. He had kind of like Converse kind of tennis shoes, and they were dusty because he played on clay courts in Europe. And he would just get to every ball. Didn't matter where they hit it, he'd get to it. He'd wear them down. He had the seminarian at Concordia screaming. Well, he was screaming. Usually a seminarian wouldn't be screaming. We played Fontbonne, and they had a priest playing for them. Don't ask me why. He was screaming and cursing also. And so we did, fortunately, we had some good athletes. We had a 40-year-old woman play tennis that first year. And we had a 9th round pick in the NBA draft. That's a true story. He had a year of eligibility left, and our basketball coach the first year, Dennis Beckett, talked him into using it last year here. So he enrolled full-time in the evening and played his last year here. He was a manager at a McDonald's, and this is not a joke. We had a gym over at Plymouth, and a game maybe had already started, and I'd look over from the bench. I was assistant for a lot of teams because we didn't have much of a budget. So it was the head coach. If they wanted an assistant, it was me. And Craig would come walking in the door in his little McDonald's manager's outfit, a little gym bag. He would walk around, work his way around, and come behind the bench. He'd start slipping off his McDonald's clothes, and underneath was Webster. And the basketball team had nice uniforms that first year. They were modeled after Michigan's uniforms. They had the big W and it said Webster across it, tearaway sweats and all that. But he'd take off his McDonald's outfit to reveal the Webster uniform. He'd pull his pants off, there's the shorts. He'd get up, he'd do a little this and that, and Dennis would look back and say, "Are you ready?" I said, "Yep." Then went Craig, and Craig averaged 18 points and like 11 rebounds. And was like a man playing with boys. It was quite a coincidence, it seemed to me anyway, that every time we played a road game that year, it was the other school's homecoming. And a couple of schools, it was twice. I thought, schools had 2 homecomings? Anyway, I could write a book about those first few years. People told me I should. But the players did get better. The coaches found their recruiting footing. And by the time the university completed this marvelous facility, at least it was marvelous in 1992, we might be outgrowing it now, winning teams and more sports would follow. We had 85 freshmen in fall 1984. And within 20 years, we would be knocking on the door of 500. And believe me, it is not a coincidence the growth of the department mirrored the overall numbers in athletics. So athletics played a big role in the expansion of our full-time undergraduate numbers. There are a lot of things, memories I have of many games and contests, but a lot of things that I think of when I think back of my time in the department, my 8.5 years as an SID. I was, as Scott mentioned, I was AD till 88, left, went back to admissions full time, and then I came full circle in 2009, back as the SID, and was for 8.5 years. And I helped transition it to the next level, and that we've never had a full-time SID before. But Ben Greenberg, who's my predecessor, has really taken it to another level. And I remember many great games and exciting moments for those teams, but little things always are in my head, as a number of the athletes had mentioned, things that really don't have to do with games. Martin, are you out there anywhere? Martin Fields? I see his name. Things like Martin bringing up his potato chip of the month to the baseball press box. I never knew there was potato chip of the month until Martin brought up the press box. Larry told one of my stories when Luigi and I were driving up to the NCAA game, and as I have not represented, it was a blinding storm the whole way, but Larry kept us going the whole time with stories of Monsanto and the early days of Dartmouth and the history of the school. And I don't remember quite well, but was it Wheelock? Reverend Wheelock running out of the woods with a keg of rum in one hand and a hatchet in the other. There is another driving story also. I see Andrew right here, us driving back from the World Series, and middle of the night, it's pitch black. Martin was in the car. Dominic, my oldest, was in the car, and we all were singing I just called to say I love you. And it was really quite touching, really. First of all, Andrew hates music. But for him to be saying, I just called to say I love you, I see you wonder, and all of everybody was saying, I thought it was one of those things that just stays with you. It really does. In closing, really, I do have a lot of thanks, and I'm sorry if I'm rambling here. First of all, I'd like to thank the first staff, our first year, who really, without them, I mean, it took a lot to get teams on the field and keep them going, especially without any recruiting, with no scholarships, and to get them to the point where we could start rotating and having teams every year. Russ Monica was our first volleyball coach. He was the club coach. He unfortunately has passed away since. Janae Turner, who was a player from the University of Missouri, was our women's tennis coach and did a great job for several years. Ed Sakurai, who was one of the outstanding faculty in Webster history, and Harry Kargas, another one of Webster's outstanding faculty and a Hall of Fame member, both co-coached the men's tennis. Dennis Beckett, I mentioned before, did the men's basketball team. After his year at Webster, he was hired as an assistant at Mizzou for their men's team. Tony Kuster, who I'm sure Marty knows, he was our first soccer coach, and after the first year, he actually was hired away by Forest Park Community College, which had one of the top soccer community college programs at the time in the country. And then there's John Ehrenberg, who was our SID. He worked tirelessly. He was a student here, but he also worked part-time for the Blues, and he was our SID. He put out Division I level press releases and was our SID for our first 4 years, statistician. He did all that kind of work that I wound up doing years later as the SID. The coaches I worked with when I was SID, I want to thank them all. A couple in particular, Mary Graff, hiding back here. As interim AD, she really helped me through a hard time. You see, I'm having a hard time standing here now. I had a problem in 2013 that put me in a rehab hospital for 4 weeks and then 19 weeks in another rehab facilities. But somehow or another, I was able to keep up with the job. I did some of it from bed at night, but other people jumped in and really helped out. And I thought I saw, do I see Josh Hellmeyer hiding out there? Josh, I never forgot. He stepped in and wrote the soccer stories. Did you also do volleyball too, Josh? Volleyball too, right? And did you do any of the basketball? Yeah, maybe some. Yep, yeah, some until. And John Ehrenberg, who I mentioned before, he did the cross-country stories and helped out a little bit also too. And I would get the stories at night on my phone, and I would do some editing or whatever. And everything went smoothly. And my family leave ran out, so I came back. I would come from my day rehab and spend time here so I could be officially back on the job. And Mary worked with me and kept me going, and I was able then to finish out another 4 years, and I really do appreciate that. To my family, Ellen, my wife, she put up with all the nights that being an SID will take you away from the home and weekends. And Larry, someone drives to Blackburn and Greenville. You know, they really have good little pizzerias in both those towns. The towns, Carlinville, Greenville, pizzeria is good. So there's some pluses in going to those places. But also Ellen was, before we were married, when I was AD for 3 years before we were married, and I tried to go to every event at that time. And I was still working for the Cardinals at Stadium, working their games, and I was also in admissions still, so I was doing college nights. So there was a lot of nights I was gone, so thanks for putting up with that. And to my children, Dominic, I've mentioned before, he did stat crew for me for 3 years and did it very well. He did play 4 years of soccer here. Daniel, Ben knows well. Daniel did stat crew here for 8 years. He actually worked here almost as long as I have, Monty, as long as I have. He played 2 years of tennis here. And Erin, my youngest, she went to Westminster, but that's was just worked out better for her. But she volunteered many times. She came to Webster games, even after she was a student at Westminster, and we'd have a spot where she sat down and she worked. So the family, it was all kind of a family affair. Then there's Andrew Belsky. He taught me all the ins and outs of sports information, especially about the website. He bailed me out many times. And I'm really happy to see your parents here this evening. Scott, you're a good guy, you're a caring boss, and where the heck are you? You know, I keep thinking that picture of me is up there. That's what's really making me nervous. You're a good guy, and really Webster's lucky to have you, and you were another part of me sticking around for another 4 years. And lastly, there's Luigi. Luigi, I'm going to lean forward there. Luigi has been with Webster Athletics. A lot of people probably even think about this. He has been with Webster Athletics in some form or another since 1985. So he is hitting the 35-year mark being associated with the department versus a player. It's a work study for me. And then when my absolute last duty as AD was Marty Waria. I absolutely was to interview Marty for the job, and I told him, I said, you'd be great, but I said, you know, I got this guy that I think would be a good assistant for you. And fortunately, when Harry Cargus took over, I said to Harry, I said, I'm only going to tell you one thing. I said, hire Marty Toad as your soccer coach and Luigi as his assistant, and he followed through on that. And Luigi has been again involved with the department ever since. So I thank him as well, and for being a good friend all this time too. I have one more thing, kind of different here. I'm going to ask my son-in-law, Jack, if you just take a walk back a little bit. By those closet doors, there's a couple garment bags there. Would you bring those up here? Now, Luigi, would you come up too, please? Oh, I got it. This is, can you everybody hear me? This is the first uniform ever worn by any sport at Webster University. This is the 1984 men's set of soccer uniforms. And not only did the first team ever wear it, women's volleyball played later that night, but eventually this gets the first. I'm sorry, volleyball went second. But the second year, Luigi played. I believe, number 11. I think it's only proper. I'm presenting the whole set to the department, except for number 11, who I think should go to the guy who wore it, right? But that's it. I'm done. Thank you very much.
Okay, congrats, Neil. And finally now, it's my responsibility as AD at Webster University to formally induct our Hall of Famers, and it's part of my job description that I take very, very seriously. So I'll ask Andrew, Crystal, Greg, Craig, Jenner, and Neil to please stand. By the powers vested in me as the athletic director at Webster University, it is indeed a great honor and privilege that I now formally induct you into the Webster Athletics Hall of Fame. Okay, everybody, thank you for this evening. I know this was an awesome event, getting to know some awesome people and honor them. Please feel free to stick around to socialize, get some photos with your families in the backdrop, and again, I want to congratulate all of you. Great job. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.